Good morning, Ultimate Family. It's 6:30 here in Phoenix, Arizona. Beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. Chilly, they say. It's not that bad, and compared to some places in the country, it certainly isn't. I flew out yesterday to come hang out with the one and only Mr. Steve Hardison, who I'll be meeting with in just a few hours. Got my rituals while I'm here. One of the rituals is I don't sleep. Not really a ritual, it's just more of a condition of traveling and time zone off, whatever. Yeah, get my little workout in, get some blood going. One of the beautiful things about coming to work with Steve from another state is this really is a 2-day adventure for me. Every 2 weeks I get on the plane, wherever I am in the world, and fly here. And I clear out those days, both for travel and also for preparation and reflection. It's really funny to me, right? I'll have clients show up 2-3 minutes late to a call, a scheduled call that they're paying a lot of money for. Oh, sorry, running from another meeting. What? You're spending that kind of money with me and you don't have the sense to block the hour before this? Well, it's not they don't have the sense, it's they don't think like that. They think they got to be rushing about. And usually after we have a few conversations, that gets sorted out. So to a lot of people, this idea of I'm going to be gone for 2 days to spend 2 hours with some guy is pretty ludicrous. But it's incredible. I get so much value out of not doing anything, right? Thinking about what we're going to talk about, thinking about what we talked about. I really cherish the time. In fact, when I'm in Florida, it's a full 2 days. We'll be in Arizona May, September, October, so I'll be driving. And we'll be in Park City, Utah, September, October, no, June, July, August. That'll be a day trip. So in a way, I like being in, hey, Jen. In a way, I get not shortchanged, but I only have that day. It's like, oh, I missed my extra day. But I figure out time anyway. So the backstory here is I got a bunch of time to really think, right? I don't try to fill it up. I don't listen to podcasts. I don't try to, download more information and be productive. I just I got a couple days. Let me see what the universe wants me to do. Last night I had dinner with a gentleman who turns out lives in North Phoenix. I don't think we've seen each other for 15 years. It was really cool to catch up with him. And I couldn't even really tell you how, there's a story here, by the way. There's kind of a story with the punchline, but I'm giving you a lot of setup. I couldn't even tell you why I reached out to him. I think it was December. And I was going to meet with him in January, and then it doesn't really matter. It got postponed. Oh, that's right. The last time I was here, I did a day trip a month ago, so I didn't have time for dinner. Anyway, I had dinner last night. Really cool guy, very successful. And I honestly just planned to have dinner and catch up. Hey, what's new? What's going on? But it wasn't very long into the conversation that the little voice in my head starts talking to me. And it's not a little voice, it's a big voice. Ask him about this. Notice what he just said there. And this might sound really strange, but as a coach, it's almost like I have a hang-up or some sort of insecurity that I'm never not a coach, that I'm never not coaching. I even fucking hate the word coach, right? It just doesn't even make sense, right? Um, a lot of the times, because people think of life coaching and giving advice, and for me, it's so much more deep and powerful and meaningful. Here's this guy I'm talking to who has an incredible life, very successful, and yet I can see what's missing. I don't mean like what's missing, like something's wrong, but what's missing, how he talks about his relationship with his son, how he talks about his relationship with his wife and work. Like, when people are like, how's life? My update is really short. It's fucking amazing. The work I'm doing could not be more fulfilling. How I'm serving the world is powerful and meaningful and fills me full of energy. I want to do this the rest of my life. My relationship with my wife is incredible. Everything about it. She's amazing. She's serving the world. The life we have is, incredible. My sons are incredible. My relationship with, like, okay, done. What else is there to talk about? Most people have more to talk about because it's kind of complaints. And I don't mean like that's a bad thing. Hey, good morning, Lori. If I didn't say good morning, Jen, good morning to you. I keep looking for a pink tracksuit. I'm always on there looking, so know that and keep checking. They have red ones. I don't know if that counts. I think pink is what you want. You put an interesting point there. It's not that I want others to be absolutely fulfilled. I just know it's possible. And the truth is, I've done a lot of work to not want for others something that they don't want for themselves. It still sneaks in, let's be honest about it. But I do my best, right? Like, am I wanting this for him, or is that something there? And if I broach the subject, I try to be very clear, not like, hey, I see this for you or whatever. But yeah, to your point, I am a beacon. And I guess sometimes the beacon feels a little bit, not embarrassed, insecure about it. Like, my life is fucking amazing. And trust me, it wasn't always that way. And I've put a lot of work in and a lot of intention for it to be amazing. And I know it's possible for anybody. There is no, well, you know how it is for me. Well, you know how it is after, no, there's no, you know how it is after 26 years of marriage. Bullshit. There's no, you know how it is. Steve Hardison doesn't have any, you know how it is. That's my example I go off of. And it's not like it gets awkward, but, okay, this is going to sound weird. I'm going to get weird this morning. So, what's up, Tony? Hey, brother. Glad you got the gift, man. I'm glad you liked it. I wasn't sure. I mean, I kind of thought you would, but anyway, I was really psyched. I can't wait to see a video. So, I'm getting a little weird this morning. That's the lack of sleep. Luis and I've been watching this series on Netflix called Manifest. And it's about these people that get on an airplane, come back from Jamaica, and the plane disappears, and it shows up like 5 years later. Everybody thinks they're dead. And now they're integrating with society. Yeah, I bet you do. I know you do, Jen. And they come back, and they're, it's not weird enough that they have to, be part of society now after being missing 5 years. So, your brother and sister were the same age, and now one's like 5 years younger. Yeah, you're watching it. Cool, Jen. But they start getting these callings. Like, they get these little snippets of information, like, help her, or save them, or go over there. And the whole show really is about these freaking callings things. And again, don't take this with a grain of salt. I called Luis this morning, and I was like, I woke up last night, I'm like, holy shit, it's like we get callings. And I want to be clear, I don't have voices in my head. I don't see shapes or stuff, right? I'm not, I say this. One of my clients is a shaman. Like, the guy sees colors and auras and travels to other universes and shit like that. I don't have any magic powers like that I know of. Like, I'm a pretty normal, chop me some wood, I'll build you a cabin kind of guy. And yet there is a knowing when I'm with somebody, and you could call it divine intelligence. You could just call it I'm fucking listening, and most people don't listen. there's like, oh man, I see what's missing here. It's like there's a puzzle piece missing. I'm like, I could see it because they're talking about the puzzle, but they're leaving this piece out. So I was talking to this morning, and I'm like, it's kind of like we get these callings, and it's really cool, right? Right? To be sitting with someone and know that there's a way you can serve them. That's really, I don't know, for me it is anyway. It's really powerful. It's beautiful. And to know what they need in some cases. And sometimes it's really like obvious and loud, like this guy needs help with this, or this person needs help with this. But sometimes it's just like there's something there. But if you're watching the show Manifest, what you'll notice is these callings cause a lot of problems for the people that have them, right? And what's ironical, of course, is that we're even watching this show. I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't watch a lot of series. Somebody's like, oh, Manifest. I tried starting it a couple times. I'm like, I don't like it. And then we just kind of like, all right, let's just watch it. I honestly couldn't tell you. I don't even enjoy it that much. It's so overacted and like over the top, and it's almost become funny to us, right? Um, it's getting used today. Oh, the used. Yeah. Cool. Used today. Perfect. Yeah. The Steadicam. Yeah, that's a DJI one. That's pretty sweet. I had one like that a couple years ago. They work really well. The software, I know I just took a hard left turn. I'm talking to Tony Schmaltz right now. The software actually lets you set it up so it'll track you. Like you can actually put it stationary and it'll follow you around. It's pretty slick. So, back to these callings, they cause problems because like things and show up at places when other people don't. And they're like, how'd you know about the bodies that were buried in the blah, blah, blah? And you're like, I don't know, I just know. So everybody gets a little suspicious around that. Like, what's going on with these people? So that's kind of what I've been feeling like. If I had a dollar or a nickel or some monetary instrument for every time I picked up the phone and called somebody or text somebody and said, hey, just check it in. And they're like, oh my God, how'd you know? I don't know, I just thought I should call you. Nobody calls me, and I'm okay with that. Nobody, very few people say happy birthday to me. I get birthday stuff. It's their callings that brings you back to the show. That is me. Okay, yeah, there you go. But you got to admit, Jen, there's something like, it takes some getting comfortable with, right? Like, because here I had dinner with this guy last night, and I'm like, fuck, this guy needs some support, some help. Not like he's broken. He doesn't really need it, but man, I could spend 2 hours with this guy and it would change his life. This whole thing, relationship with his son that's not as loving and connected, it'd be transformed. And then there's the ego or the identity where I was like, oh great, you're going to call him. He's going to think you just took him to dinner because you were trying to get him as a client. And then there's like all the worry and the thoughts about it, which are silly, but I'm human. I have them. At least last time I checked, I'm human. So it's really interesting, right? I've chosen a profession, or maybe the profession chose me, that really is a manifestation of only who I've been my whole life. Right? My whole life, I've reached out to people, checked in on people, asked how they're doing, do they need to talk, what have you, long before I was a coach. My whole life, it has always shown up to serve first, and everything else will take care of itself. One of the biggest deals I ever closed when I ran my company literally originated from, it wasn't like connected, like I did this for that, but, was instigated. All right, brother. See you, Tony. Have a great day. Was instigated because one of my neighbors, his porch steps were all janked up. This was years and years ago. I had my company. He was an executive at a Fortune 500 company in one department. And, yeah, I was going over his house, and I'm like, man, your steps are whacked, dude. He's like, yeah, I got them. I'm like, well, why don't I'll take care of that for you. And I went to the McGuckins in Boulder, the local hardware store, and I bought a prefab set of steps, and I put new steps on his porch for him. I didn't charge him, didn't expect anything. I wasn't doing it so he'd make an introduction, or however that went. But literally, it turned into the biggest deal that my company ever had. And that's just what I do. And then yet, conversation after conversation after conversation, I'm still sitting across from folks and they're like, what's the angle? Right? Like, wonder what my angle is. And I'm not unaware to that. And I don't have an angle, but I get in this weird sort of loop like, oh, they're going to think I have an angle. How to make sure they don't think, and I don't need to think that, but I think that anyway. I'm just kind of, freestyling this morning. Like I said, not much sleep. Going to see Mr. Hardison this morning. So I'm going to get tore up from the floor up anyway. So I figured I'd start with you guys. It's fascinating. In some cases, I really, these days more and more, I relish the moment when I start to notice them like, what's this guy up to? Like, where is he trying to? What's in it for him? I was talking to somebody the other day, part of this group, so you know who you are if you're watching. And I don't remember how we connected, but it's like, talk to this guy. So we talked. And it's not like, I'm going to chit chat. It's like, I'm talking to somebody. There's somebody I can help them. That's what I do. That's who I be, right? If I'm talking to somebody, there's something I'm supposed to do for them. Some way I'm supposed to help them. Whether they want that help or not is a whole other thing. It's not my problem, not up to me. But I know that more and more, and sometimes I forget it. Yeah, well, that's a great question, Jen. We'll get to that in a minute. And like, I could tell the moment of the conversation when he's like, what's this guy up to? What's his hang? What's he trying to pull here? And I think he was fairly candid about it. Sometimes people aren't, and I have to say, let me guess, you're wondering this. And they're like, yeah. But he was pretty candid about it. I said, listen, I'm not going to answer your question. I'm going to tell you who I am in the world. And I busted out one of my little PFC stones. And I shared with them how I carry these stones with me. They're engraved with PFC on one side and my phone number on the other side. I said, when people I come across are inspiring, doing something inspiring, I will ask if I can give them a gift. And I'll create what PFC is. I'll talk about Peace, Freedom, Connection. It's inside of us. I'll talk about who I am, what I've created in the world. I'll give them this stone, this gift. And I'll say, and on the back of the stone, there's a phone number. I said, do you know what a magic genie is? This is what I'll do. Do you ever know what a magic genie? They'll say, yeah. I said, tell me what a magic genie is. Well, they grant wishes. I said, yeah. Like you rub the lamp, and whatever you ask for, they'll give you. I said, well, that number, that's my cell phone number. I'm a fucking magic genie. I literally give these stones out all the time to people. Strangers. Surprisingly few people call the number. That's a whole different story. But I literally am, I could not be more serious when I say, call that number anytime for the rest of your life. Whatever you need, I'll help you get it. That's a literal statement. That's not like, if it's something I can do. No, whatever you come up with, I can help you with. I said, so that's who the fuck I am in the world. That's how I roll. That's how I show up to strangers who I don't know much about. So, if you still got the question, what's this guy trying to get from me? Well, I don't know. Ask what I was trying to get from those two kids I gave a rock to, a stone to, who were, soliciting donations, or the Lyft driver I gave a stone to, or the multiple Lyft drivers, right? Keep asking that question. So, Jen, you pose a good question. Why are they trying to find the angle? That's a really interesting question. Because when you think about it, it almost sort of makes sense. If I'm trying to figure out what to give, well, the normal behavior is, aren't people always trying to figure out what somebody's trying to take from them? But why would that be? I guess it would have to be because they think they can be taken from, right? It would have to be, if we think about this from a state of being, a being that says, I can be harmed, I can be hurt, I'm vulnerable, right? I can be taken advantage of, right? You would have to believe that to be true, and then that would have proved itself out throughout your life, right? Yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting question. I don't actually think about why so much. I don't really care, right? Why people. And I'll tell you another little thing, and this is just between us, whoever us is. I have this suspicion, I have this idea that part of my purpose on this planet is to help show people that it's not always about somebody trying to take from them, right? The number of people in my life who I've encountered who, at least according to their story, have been taken from, and people have only given in exchange for something they wanted, and have only done something nice for them and they want something back. Like that's how life occurs for them. I show up and I'm a stand for whatever you want. You got it. Nothing in return needed here. Like, I don't need anything. Like, literally, I don't need anything ever for the rest of my life from anybody in the world. I have everything I need, and whatever else I need, I'll just create it. So, like, the idea that I would need something from somebody is absurd to me. Yet, if they're across from me going, oh, what's this guy going to need from me? Well, I am proof that there's at least one human on this planet that isn't going to take from them. That's kind of an interesting thought, right? Like, if your model is everybody takes and then I show up, well, that's going to shatter that illusion. That's going to disprove a truth that people only take from you. Well, if it's true someplace, then it has to be true everywhere. And as I, sort of think about this out loud, there are many examples in my life of folks I've taken that stand for, and that thought has been so disruptive to them that they have literally created a story of me trying to take from them. I think I shared this recently. There's somebody that's part of my community who, well, let's just say, we're not so good together anymore because it occurred for him that I was trying to take from him in a very insidious way. And I could assure him I wasn't, or provide evidence or what, it wouldn't matter, right? The thought that I was truly there to serve him unconditionally was so untenable, was so disruptive, was so insulting to how the world occurs for him, to his being. He had to create it, right? Literally, people have created, this guy's going to take from me. And it doesn't matter whether I think I am or not. If they create it, it's true for them. Here's an example of that. I just found this out the other day. I read something where you can go into Uber and check your passenger rating and see how many stars you got. And I was curious. I have a 4.8 or 4.7 rating. Doesn't really matter. Let me say it would be an understatement to say I am an exemplary rideshare passenger, right? I just am. I'm kind of exemplary in everything, right? I really care about other people. That said, I had a couple 1-star and a couple 2-star ratings from drivers, meaning somewhere in the 4,000 or 5,000 Uber rides I've taken. I don't know how many. Probably not that many. Somebody's like, that guy's an asshole. Me. And from where they were looking, that was the truth, right? For whatever reason, for whatever was going on with them, from who they were being, that's what they saw, and it was true for them. And they'd have a story to back it up. Oh, he did this, he said that, he was they'd have an explanation for it. They're not irrational. It's rational from where they're looking. Kind of interesting stuff. For those of you joining, I hope you go back and watch this, because there's some really fun stuff here. Coffee's kicking in, so that's good. What I'm really talking about here is this idea that coming from a place of service, which I think is the only way to roll, is very disruptive for people, is very threatening, right? Maybe threatening is the word to a being that is not accustomed to that. And as the one looking to serve, it can create a lot of head trash. I have a lot of head trash around this. All morning I've been thinking about, okay, how do I approach this guy? What do I say? Right? I want to extend an offer to sit down with him. And I'll also say, the more I do that, the more comfortable I get with it, the less I worry about it, the more bold I can be, right? Several years ago, it was a lot of head trash for me to say, listen, this thing you're talking about, I can help you with that. That took a lot of like energy, and there were a lot of thoughts about it, a lot of anxiety, not a lot of anxiety, insecurity, and some resistance. I'd do it anyway, but it was there. These days, it pops its head up a lot less, but it still does. And I keep coming back to this idea of, if that's how I'm wired and that's how my being is moving through the world, how does that being relate to other beings, right? One of the things I love about this community is I can have a video like this and at least 5 or 6 people watching thinking that guy's not completely nuts. But most people are just trying to figure out how to get through the day, get the right parking spot at Whole Foods, argue with the teacher about this, make sure their kid doesn't, end up on the street because he didn't get into the right preschool. Their neighbors are playing the music too loud or haven't trimmed the magnolias the right way or some fucking thing like that. And here I am traipsing through the valley, trying to share and give my gift. Who the fuck is that guy? Like, somebody probably should take me out. So I get it, right? I get how disruptive it is. But I'm going to keep doing it. So, that's all I got for this morning, folks. I'm sure there will be lots of magical ideas pop into my head in a few hours after I hang out with Mr. Hardison. So don't be surprised to get another video either later today or tomorrow. Have an amazing, amazing day.